Hello everyone and welcome to Game 4 in a series between FXO's ASD and mTw's Dimaga here on Ohana. Trying to remember back to yesterday, I believe FXO's ASD has a 2-1 lead going into Game 4. ASD spawning as the blue Protoss player here on the bottom right hand side of the map. Meanwhile on the top left hand side of the map we do have Dimaga spawning as the red Zerg. Zerg versus Protoss once more, and this is now the 4th game I am casting in this series, so I should pretty much know what to expect from this game. ASD now going to be setting up a low ground pylon, and it looks like it will be a forge fast expansion. The probe will just continue along its merry way and then try and block a hatchery with a pylon or with the probe itself. Dimaga, on the other hand, will be most likely opening up with a 14 or 15 spawning pool. Don't remember the exact timing, 14 or 15 spawning pool, and with that particular opening, we should see Zerglings and then a queen followed up rather nicely. We may or may not see a hatchery placed down over here at the 3rd base, but then again, Dimaga should have an advantage on this map since Zerg players do win most of the time. On Ohana, I believe it's like a 60 to 65% win ratio for Zerg players in general. That may not sound like much, but then again, that means 2 out of 3 times the Zerg player does win. The reason being there are a lot of wide open positions here on the map. Very easy to spread down creep tumors. And if you ever get attacked, it's very easy for Zerglings and Roaches to just simply run down and try to do a little bit of a base trade, as we are going to see the probe now doing the block there. The drone is going to get some shots off. We are going to see the pylon now warping in. And Dimaga actually utilizing the drone to get some damage off on that pylon. ASD will most likely just leave this pylon be, let it finish warping in, and it will be 100 resources lost forever. There's that pylon there, buying in more time. 2 Zerglings, perhaps 4 will be trained in addition to that 1 queen, as I mentioned. And pretty much both players playing a very standard game. Both players have been in this particular scenario many times before, and they're not really deviating from their plans. They've played so many games of StarCraft that their openings are pretty much set in stone, maybe slight variations, but they don't really have to deviate just quite yet. Now, I do imagine that these 4 Zerglings from Dimaga will come down here, take down this pylon, go over here, make sure that there are no proxy pylons here, and then 1 Zergling will hold 1 Xel'Naga tower here, the other Zergling will hold this Xel'Naga tower. The reason why they can do it this early in the game is because that they know that most likely there isn't a cybernetics core. Without the cybernetics core, there is no worry that a stalker is going to come down and snipe these Zerglings. 1 Zergling now making... Oh, I thought the Zergling would try to hold this Xel'Naga tower here. An Overlord is making its way off over here as well. Will ASD perhaps set up a proxy pylon down is the key question. Oh, ASD gonna be able to perhaps get a photon cannon around this hatchery. Does Dimaga actually spot the probe? Yes, he does. An Overlord is now making its way over, but we already see what ASD is doing. He is now warping in a pylon here, and he may force a cancellation on this hatchery. Overlord is slowly making its way over, still faster than before. As soon as this pylon is done, we should get the Overlord in position, and the Overlord may be able to spot the photon cannons, which is going to be important. There is the photon cannons now. The Overlord does spot it. Meanwhile, the photon cannons do not spot the Overlord. This is huge, as a Zergling now making its way over. These 2 photon cannons could be completed in just a second. Zerglings are now trying to run back, and there you see a 3rd photon cannon. We are going to see about 300 resources lost here, as another pylon now coming in, and ASD may... Oh no, we are not going to get a cancellation on from Dimaga. This is a very big surprise. Dimaga actually not canceling this hatchery as I originally suspected, and all this is going to do is turn into a macro hatch. This is a very heavy investment on photon cannons here. It is going to delay any production buildings by ASD as the cybernetics core is just now done. Alright, drones are being trained. There's 1 photon cannon coming in here, getting in some very easy shots. Zerglings attempting to take down the probe, able to do exactly that. And what is Dimaga going to be doing next? 2 photon cannons are within range, and with no queen making its way over, Dimaga is in a bit of trouble. 36 drones though compared to 29. And if Dimaga, set up another expansion here at the 10 o'clock position. This is absolutely huge. ASD will actually have invested more than Dimaga has, and he still got the additional larva that he wanted. There's still 1 larva here. Broodlings now making their way over, getting off some damage. Won't get past the shields. 1 larva left here by Dimaga. Dimaga could in fact train that into a drone and make its way over. So far, let's take a look at the losses. We see 350 loss, but ASD has invested a large amount of resources here. About 800 resources that only took down 350 and a little bit of map control in the corner. We do see a Stargate now training up what most likely will be 1 Void Ray followed up by 2 Phoenixes in order to move out for pressure. Nope, gonna skip the Void Ray, just go for Phoenixes. And what is this? We are also now going into a macro hatch. Dimaga could hit a very strong timing here. He has enough bases to run and just run the table with a large number of roaches. Already teching the tier 2, he could get Glio Reconstitution very quickly. And with so many roaches knocking on the front door and the delay and the loss of resources just tied up in these pylons and photon cannons here, there may not be enough gateways to actually fend off the attack. You see ASD has gone very, very heavy into these sentries, but I don't agree with this Phoenix play. He's trying to go for harassment, but he's got to suspect that a strong engagement of roaches could be around the corner. Void Rays would be much better at this point, or perhaps trying to go for Immortals. 1 Void Ray at least, and ASD should perhaps begin to start scouting with these Phoenixes. ASD purposely trying to hide the fact that he has these Phoenixes, but Dimaga pretty much already in a very good, or Dimaga, sorry, already has a very good scouting information and knows that his opponent is currently only up on 2 bases. So far, we see 5 sentries on the field. Now we are going to see some creep now spread over here. Dimaga sitting on a 40 supply advantage. ASD thinking he has this game, and as soon as he flies here, he's going to realize there is a queen here, and then realize he is not nearly as ahead as he thinks. Swarm of roaches are now already out. 5 roaches coming in here. The Phoenixes not going to be able to do much. Are we going to get perhaps some Spore Crawlers? Yes, Spore Crawlers now coming in. 2 Spore Crawlers. Overlord's trying to hide down over here. Mass Roaches are actually going to engage this corner. Not even sure if he needs to invest into this at all, as the Roach is simply just going to walk in, take down 1 Photon Cannon after another, just swarming in here, and we are going to see 2 to 3 Roaches perhaps taken down, but there are simply so many Roaches that all of these Photon Cannons and perhaps supply blocking ASD, which could possibly be very important. Overlord does get shot down here. Drone might get Graviton beamed. There we go. But I believe the rest of the bases are pretty much very well protected by Spore Crawlers and Queens. Phoenix is still looking around. They're not going to be able to hunt very much at all. There's the Graviton beam. Are we going to perhaps see some transfusions? No need, as 4 Queens is more than enough. And we are now up to 6 Queens on the high ground. We are up at 3 bases to 2. Harvester count is 62 to 51. And ASD simply over-invested into these photon cannons here, actually putting him a little bit behind. Let's take a look at the army compositions. A much higher gas tech coming in from ASD. Most of it is in all of these sentries here. We are now going into a Spire, and we are also going into pathogen glands. Mutalisks are a very small possibility at this point. Since there are so many Phoenixes out, I cannot imagine that they would actually come out. But let's take a look at this. Queens are already out on the field. Roaches do have Glio Reconstitution, and we are going to see a bit of a battle here. All right, here's the engagement. Roaches, Queens, force fields coming in. 2 Queens have been picked up. And are they going to get sniped? It looks as though the Roaches are now battling back down over here. The rest of the Phoenixes are not engaging, as the Zerglings are still trying to wander around. There are some Spore Crawlers here. Zerglings now going to try to come in and engage from the far side. There's the Spore Crawlers, and ASD is pretty much utilizing all the energy on his sentries without really doing much of anything. The Phoenixes, you can see, are a bad investment here. Dimaga most likely going to finish off all of these Stalkers. 1 fungal growth could pretty much end things now, as the Stalkers are just trying to blink their way forward. Queens are in position. There's some transfusions, saving some roaches, and now, oh, no fungal growth. Are we going to see a fungal growth here? Waiting for it. There's a fungal growth. Chain fungal growth could be coming in. There are plenty of infestors. Another fungal growth coming down. And ASD is just losing this fight very, very quickly. ASD now down to 66 supply compared to 138, with 16 Zerglings and 8 more roaches being added. ASD not knowing that he's still behind, still attempting to apply pressure. And now this could be going from bad to worse in just a moment. Stalkers need to blink back. There you go. As the Zerglings are now running in. The Zerglings I do not believe nearly have as many upgrades. The Stalkers are upgraded 2-0, but the roaches still have very, very effective DPS here. There is the GG from ASD as Dimaga realizes that he cannot win out in this engagement. 3 bases to 2. Very well played by Dimaga, understanding that the expansion over here on the top right was worth losing. By not canceling this hatchery here, he was still able to get a fair number of larvae there. He was able to train up 5 drones in total, so 350 resources. He got his opponent to invest 600, 800 minerals very early on, and he even recovered it with just larva count. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed Game 4 as we go to a final game deciding or series deciding Game 5. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.